Hey folks, it's Sadie. I'm so excited to bring you the first AAC video of the year. This month we have chosen the subject of insects. Let's get painting. I have to let you know that the Animal Artist Collective was started by Denise Snowden of In Liquid Color and Jennifer Charlie of Jennifer Charlie Art to bring artists together and bring awareness to different animals. And 50% of all of the paintings that are sold through the AAC are donated to charities which benefit different animals. This time we have a very special artist joining us, Bonnie Snowden. She does amazing colored pencil work and we're so excited to have her. So this time our subject is insects. And today I am going to paint a spider wasp. Why a spider wasp? Well, because wasps and I have a very special relationship. Actually, bugs in general and I have a very special relationship. Here's my secret. I'm afraid of bugs. Like, really afraid of bugs. I am allergic to basically all bugs that can sting, and I am deathly allergic to bee stings. I carry an EpiPen around with me at all times, partially for this reason. So since I was a little kid, I have not really been a big fan of bugs. I don't want them near me. I don't want them in my house. Not cool. So I like painting bugs. But when I think of painting bugs, my mind automatically goes to the cute stuff like butterflies or moths or something that's really colorful and unique looking. But what about the basic animals that are often around us? What about the basic insects that we don't think are so cute? The ones that we actually think are nuisances. Aren't they important too? So that's the reason that I decided to actually paint a wasp. It felt like it would be a kind of meditation for me on the wasp, because every time I paint one of these animals, I really can't help but fall in love with them. And I have to say that through doing this video and doing this painting, I definitely gained a brand new appreciation for our little insect friends. In this video, I'm not going to talk specifically about the spider wasp so much as about insects in general, because I don't know if you know this, but insects in general are kind of in danger right now. So I've already kind of talked about how I want to change my mindset from insects being pests to being another animal on this planet that has a relationship with me that maybe sometimes I don't appreciate, but is totally valid. And I think that a lot of us could benefit from changing our mindset about that. Did you know that we know of about 1 million types of insects? 1 million species of insects. And some insect scientists believe that the number really should be something like 2 to 30 million. You want to know how many mammals there are? Just take a guess. I'll wait. Okay, you want to know the number? Around 5,400. That's a lot less than 1 million, isn't it? So even though in a lot of these things we see like these cute fuzzy animals, we see like these polar bears and lions and sloths and all of these animals that everybody loves to love. But insects really are, in some ways, the dominant form of animal life on this planet. Can you imagine what would happen if this life disappeared? Unfortunately, it seems that something like that might be in the process of happening. Recently, there have been a bunch of different studies that show drastic drops in insect populations. In the USA, they found that there was 10 to 16 times less insect biomass than there was just 30 years ago. And not only that, they saw this correlation in the animals that ate insects. So birds were down, lizards were down, frogs were down, all because there were so much less bugs. In Germany, in nature reserves, remember, these are places that should be protected and are probably the best taken care of places. So in Germany, in nature reserves, the biomass of flying insects was down 75%. 3/4 on nature reserves. So what does that mean for spaces outside of nature reserves? And in the entire world, some scientists believe that the amount of insects has been reduced by 45% in the last 30 years. So no matter what study that you're looking at, these numbers don't really look good. And unfortunately, we don't really know why. There's so many different factors that it could be. It could be climate change. It could be pesticides. It could be monoculture and industrial farming. It could be deforestation. It could be invasive species, pollution, light pollution, which I didn't know. If you leave a bulb on and insects flock to that bulb at night, hundreds of insects could die just from flocking around it and dying from exhaustion. So, okay, the bugs are dying, whatever, good riddance, right? I should be happy because that means I won't get stung and possibly have anaphylactic shock, right? Not really. Besides that, just like any other life form, they have a right to be here, and there's a lot more of them here, so it's kind of like we're trespassing on their turf. Insects are really important to all of the life on Earth. They are the root of the food chain. If there are not enough insects, there's no food for birds or small mammals, reptiles, and amphibians. And okay, if you don't care about them, what about us? We need insects to pollinate plants so that we can have food. We need them to decompose material so that we can have good soil. Some of them even take care of weeds, and we make medicine from them. It's estimated in the US that around $50 million come from insect-related production. I couldn't have imagined that if I hadn't read it. So, insects are kind of important for a lot of different reasons. And it seems like they're disappearing. And that sounds, I know, really doom and gloom. But there's a really cool, positive side to this. Well, maybe not a positive side to this disappearance, but there is something that you can do. Yeah, you specifically. And that's the really cool part. Because unlike with lions or narwhals or Tasmanian devils, you don't need to be a zoologist or in charge of a reserve in order to help. You don't have to only help by donating. You can help really directly. So a lot of the problems surrounding insects is that we don't have really good systems in place to protect them. And part of that is because people don't know a lot about them. And part of that is because policymakers don't know a lot about them, so they don't provide funding. So scientists don't have funding, so they can't learn as much about them as they need to. And like I said before, there's around 1 million species. If you don't have funding, how can you learn about all of them? And that's where you come in. Basically, in order to save the insects and in order to learn more about them, we need citizen scientists. We need regular people like you and me to learn more about insects and to care about them and to participate in citizen scientist projects that help produce research so that we can actually have some knowledge to be able to move forward. And I think that it's so cool that we can actually be part of this. Not only can you do things like participate in these citizen scientist projects, which I'm going to have links to in the description below if you want to be a part of it, but you can even there's tons of different apps. I personally use an app called iNaturalist, and I will also have the link to that in the description. And I try to take pictures of the insects that I see around me. And that's just fun for me because I get to categorize them. But it's also really helpful for researchers because they get to see perhaps if there is a species that wasn't in that area before, or if there's more there than there used to be, or if they've changed. And all I need to do to be able to contribute to that is snap a picture on my smartphone, which I was going to do already. There is actually a scientist who simply took pictures of insects he found in his own backyard. And just by doing that, he discovered several new species, which is crazy. So if you ever wanted to have a species that you discovered, checking out insects is a pretty good way to do it. You don't have to be a fancy-smancy researcher. You just need your smartphone and an app. Of course, there's other things that you can also do besides snapping pictures and taking part in citizen scientist research. You can also plant flowers for pollinators in your gardens if you have one. You can not use pesticide in that garden and buy seasonal produce. There are some suggestions to buy organic food, but many organic foods, at least in the United States, are not always produced without any kinds of pesticides, just without certain kinds of pesticides. So you might want to look further into that when it regards your food. But generally, considering the impact your choices will have on the world around us is basically the way that you can contribute to saving any of the animals that have ever been featured on the Animal Artist Collective. And just a little talk about the painting. I decided to do this spider wasp as a specimen in a box because it seemed like it was telling two stories to me. One story is that by blowing it up to be way bigger than it normally is, it felt like I was turning it into something precious. And I really want to try thinking about insects as something precious to us. And the other thing I was thinking was, imagine a world in which we weren't able to stop this disappearance of insects and biodiversity. And this was one of the last examples of the spider wasp. That's a future that I don't ever want to see. And I know I'm going to try to make sure that I can do what I can so that that's never the case. So I really hope that that wasn't too much doom and gloom, because the situation is not so great, but I think it's so hopeful that there is something that each one of us can do about it. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this painting. I hope you enjoyed the discussion and you feel empowered to go out there and find some bugs. Like I said, all paintings for the Animal Artist Collective have at least 50% of their profits donated to charity, and that will be the same with this painting. Definitely go check out all of the other videos. Everybody did such an amazing job this time, and I personally can't wait to go see the videos myself. Please like, comment, subscribe, click that bell or ring it or whatever it is you do with the bell. It really makes a difference to my channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. But until then, be gentle with yourself. Bye.